our next guest has been a staple in your film collections. From Indiana Jones to Star Wars and every major blockbuster in between, we promise you'll recognize our next guest. It's the president of Lucasfilm, Kathleen Kennedy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great.
Kathy.
This is great. Everybody looks so good. I walked the floor this morning. I saw all the cool stuff. I didn't have enough time to go back and buy things, but I will. So
It is just a sea of people.
Sea of people. Sea of people. Did you guys watch some of the Ahsoka panel? Cool, huh? Great reveal. Great reveal.
Fantastic. Now, I know this is Star Wars Celebration, but my first question is actually about Indiana Jones, if we'll allow it. For you personally, having been a part of Indiana Jones from the beginning, what has this 40-plus year journey been like for you?
You know, it's actually, and I think you guys remember how emotional that Harrison got when he was talking about this. It's pretty amazing when you're involved in something that spanned this amount of time. And I think what you'll see is the minute this movie starts, you're gonna feel like you were thrown right back in time. I mean, it is 100% an Indiana Jones movie, and that's how it felt every minute we were making it. So, very exciting.
Very awesome. I'm so excited. I know everyone here is very excited for Indy as well. But let's talk about Star Wars, because it is Star Wars Celebration. That's what we're here for. Star Wars storytelling has really evolved a lot in the last decade. To you, what makes a great Star Wars story?
What makes what, sorry?
What makes a great Star Wars story?
Oh gosh, I think there's many things that make a great Star Wars story. You know, the incredible thing that George left us was an amazing mythology. And it's very expansive, and it has meaning. That was the thing that George said to me over and over again, is whatever you do, make sure it has meaning. And I think that's what resonates with so many of us who love Star Wars, is it makes you feel something. And that's what we try to do with every single story we tell, is we're just trying to create characters that people can relate to and you have some connection to.
And when you look out at these cosplays, I think we can say a lot of people have a deep, deep connection to some of those characters. They want to walk around all day in those costumes. They want to bring them to life from animation. But you're also evolving the Star Wars storytelling quite a bit. When you're developing new talent to bring into the fold, can you tell us, can you quantify what you look for?
You know, I look for people who have something to say. That's the first thing, is when somebody comes in, they have a love of Star Wars, but the second question is, what do you have to say? What are you trying to say in your storytelling? What's important to you? I often find that I'm talking to people about things that really personally affected them. And they bring that to the character and to the stories, much like you're hearing Dave talk about his experiences in evolving the animation he did with Clone Wars, what he's bringing to Ahsoka, and how much it means to him personally. And I think that that's the most important thing with any of the filmmakers we're working with, is to try to excavate that.
I appreciate that. One clap for Dave, and then thought that we're going to respectfully listen to the rest of the answer, and then everybody clapping. That was good. Of all the moments you've spent in Lucasfilm, what are some of your favorite tiny, just looking around and feeling like life is good moments? Celebration is one for me. When I look around here, I think life is good. Life is very good. But what is it for you, Kathy?
You know, I have to say it is celebration. I mean, I remember when I first started this job, George said to me, "You haven't been to a celebration yet, have you?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, you're about to go." And my first celebration was in Essen, Germany. And it was spectacular. I mean, every moment that I walked around when I first ended up on the stage talking to Warwick, who was interviewing me, the whole thing was just surreal. And now it's become something I look forward to. And I know you guys too, and it's incredible to be able to share this with all of you.
Now, for the past few years, Star Wars has been primarily in TV series form on Disney Plus streaming. We've, of course, had an embarrassment of riches with The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor, all of the animation. But there was some big news yesterday at the end of the Lucasfilm Showcase panel. We're making, in case you haven't heard, we're making the jump back to movie screens. There were some amazing guests yesterday, but one of the surprise guests for me was our own Daisy Ridley. A pretty fantastic moment. So, Kathy, I'm curious, why is it important to you to make that jump while continuing with series, but to make that jump back to the big screen?
You know, what was great for us in many ways is when Disney announced that they were going to move into streaming, to be perfectly honest, none of us really knew what that meant. I mean, I'd never done a lot of television. Jon Favreau had never done a lot of television. He and I were talking about The Mandalorian early on, but at the time, a lot of our discussions were around doing movies. And then obviously the world shut down with the pandemic. So our focus became on television. And what was interesting for all of us at Lucasfilm is we realized what an amazing opportunity to experiment and explore different stories and to do things that we might not necessarily have done in the movie space right away, because the inclination would have been to just carry on with the saga and not necessarily move in these different directions. And what this has ended up doing is it's created this rich landscape for us now to have new characters that we've developed that we can now look at moving into the movie space. And we can do this thoughtfully, and we can do this in a way that I think we can eventize stories again. And isn't that the most important thing in the movie theater? You want to feel like they're seeing something huge. So that's what we want to do, and we're as excited as you are to be heading back to the big screen.
I don't want to speak for the crowd, but I think they cannot wait. We're so excited to have you here. We're so excited to be back at Star Wars Celebration Europe today, and we know you're extremely busy, so we will let you get back to all of the amazing things that you're working on.
Well, thanks, and have a great rest of the weekend.
Yes,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Kathy.